Hey, this is Eric with Painting Business Pro, and in this video I want to share with you about how I estimated and bid interior painting projects when I was first starting my company. When I first started out, estimating interior was really confusing to me, as it should be. Estimating interior is much more complex than estimating exteriors. There's a lot of little details and nuances, and that always kind of stressed me out. I would find myself constantly asking my project manager or my painters, my subcontractor, how should I price this and how should I price that, until I finally landed on a really simple system for estimating interior projects. And that's what I'm gonna share with you in this video, and I hope it helps you as much as it helped me. Even though this system is really basic and very simple, it's how I bid these jobs until our company was doing over $1 million a year. So I'm gonna show you in just a minute exactly how I did it, but just because it's obviously not very scientific, it's not as accurate as it should be, but it definitely got the job done for me. So that's the purpose of this video, is to give you the easiest way I knew how to estimate interior in the beginning. And then at the very end of the video, I'll share with you how we estimate interior now. And if you want to get really precise and really scientific about it, which is what I would recommend doing, how you can do that and where you can do that. But the purpose of this video is to make it simple so you can start bidding jobs. All right, so let's just dive in. So the first thing is I just had a really basic template for bidding one standard bedroom. All right, so just imagine we've got one standard bedroom. It's a standard 12 by 12 bedroom with 8 or 9 foot ceilings, doesn't really matter. And it's got a normal amount of trim, and it's got a door, and it's got a closet. So I have basic prices for that standard room. And the prices are $600 for the whole bedroom, walls, trim, and ceiling, $150 if they want to add in the closet, and $50 if they want to add in the door. If they only want walls, it's $400. If they only want trim, it's $200. If they only want ceilings, it's $200. So that's my estimate for one bedroom. So if someone wants an estimate on a bedroom, I can find out what they want it done. I would say, hey, do you want your walls done, trim done, ceiling done, you want the door done, you want the closet done? And that would give me my price for that one bedroom. So there's a couple things that are important to know about this quote. The first is, this is assuming that I'm using paint that costs $29 a gallon. If you're using something that's a lot more expensive, you'll need to add a little bit more in. If you're using something really cheap, you can take a little bit off. The second assumption this makes is that we're doing 2 coats. I'm always bidding for 2 coats to make sure that we're gonna be able to cover. There's rare situations where you might need to do 3 coats. We're gonna assume in this situation it's for 2 coats. This price includes materials and labor, and it's the price that I'm giving directly to the customer and the price that they're paying me for the project. This is also talking about simple standard bedrooms and standard finishes. So this isn't taking into account if we're doing custom finishes or level 5 texture or things that are a little bit more challenging. We're talking a pretty simple standard, wall finish that you're gonna see in most common homes. Got it? All right, so that's how we're gonna bid a single bedroom. So now let's up the stakes. So now let's say I go do an estimate for a customer and they want 2 rooms painted. Well, what I'm first gonna do is I'm gonna bid the first room, and let's say it's our perfect standard room. It's 12 by 12, just like we thought. So we have our standards for that room. They tell us what they want done, boom, we've got our price. And then I go to the next room and it's a little bit bigger. Maybe it's 16 by 12. And maybe there's a little bit more trim on this one because they have a bunch of windows because it's a corner room or something. Well, I'm just gonna adjust my bid just proportionally a little bit. So instead of $600 for walls, trim, and ceiling, maybe we're gonna move it up to $750 because it's about 25% bigger of a room. And that's my price. So that's how we would do 2 bedrooms. Now, what if we get a bid and a customer wants us to do the full house? So if that were the case, what I would do is I would take out a blank piece of paper and I would literally start to draw up the floor plan on a blank piece of paper. Then I go through each room one by one and I just take the measurements. I'm like, okay, this room's 12 by 10, this room's 10 by 10, this room's 16 by 12, and so on. Even measuring the hallway, that, okay, this is a hallway, it's 16 by 5, or whatever. So we're gonna go through and get measurements for every room that's going to be painted, and then I just put a price on my sheet in the little box for each room. 600, 700, this one's 550, this one's 750, this hallway's 400, and so on. And once I've priced every single room, I add them up, and that was the price that I would give the customer. So that's literally how I estimated all the interior jobs I estimated until my company was doing over $1 million a year. Sometimes I priced a little bit too high, sometimes I priced a little bit too low, but most of the time I was right about on the money, because most of the time I was doing pretty standard houses with pretty standard rooms, and over time I started to adjust that. If I ever came across something that was really complex, you know, that was kind of over my head, maybe it was unique finishes, maybe it was big vaulted ceilings, so there's a lot of custom work, honestly, sometimes I would just pass on the job. But I didn't come across a lot of those. But if I did, there's kind of two routes I would go. Either I would pass on the job, or I would just take my best shot at the price. And sometimes I'd be a little high, sometimes I'd be a little low, and sometimes I'd be right on the money. And overall, it worked out to be right about where I wanted to be, price-wise and profit-wise. All right, so there's a few things that I want you to take out of this video, or I hope you take out of this video. The first is that you can keep this really, really simple. All right, like I said, we sold over $1 million in paint jobs following this model, and we were profitable and clean and simple, and there's not a lot of rocket science to this. The second thing is, yeah, this isn't incredibly detailed, and over time, it would be really valuable, and I highly recommend getting estimating systems and processes in place that are really detailed, and I'll talk about those in a minute. All right, and then of course, there's a couple important things that I need to mention, including that prices are gonna change a little bit around the country depending on where you're located. So this is my intention for this video is just to give you a good place to start. All right, you've got a pretty good spot to start with what it should be per room. And then with all estimating, you're just gonna adjust. You're gonna put a price out, learn, adjust, put a price out, learn, adjust. And with this really simple system that I used to use, you'll get that figured out pretty quickly, what your standard room is, and you'll get figured out pretty quickly how to adjust based on rooms, how complex they are, vaulted ceilings, and little things like that. But this will give you a good building block to start with. So of course you're gonna need to adjust some things. Of course you're gonna change. Of course you're gonna need to learn. And of course you're gonna need over time to put much more detailed systems in place, which is what I'll talk about next. So there's a few different resources. So one is we have a little bit more detailed estimating in our free guides on our website, which is going to include estimating guide for estimating exterior, and everything we just went through for interior is going to be included in that guide too. You can go to the Painting Business Pro website and download that for free. Put in your email, we'll send the guide to you. We'll send you some other emails with more information, other YouTube videos, things like that. And if you want to unsubscribe, you can just get the guides and unsubscribe, all good. We hope that the stuff we send you is helpful to you in building your business. The second option that you have is we've got very, very detailed estimating spreadsheets for both interior and exterior that take into account all of the little nuances that go into estimating an interior. For example, what's the price for the walls if we're doing the ceiling? What's the price for the walls if we're not doing the ceiling? And vice versa. When we're doing both, they're less expensive because we don't have to cut as many lines. When we're doing them separately, they cost a little bit more. So we have estimating spreadsheets that take into account all of these little nuances that go in to estimating an interior, where all you have to do is go through room by room, put in the measurements, and it's gonna spit out exactly what the price should be. And we have those spreadsheets set up that took hundreds of hours to build, and they're very accurate and detailed. We have them for interior, exterior, and commercial painting. Included with all of that is estimating training on how to use all these spreadsheets and how to adjust your prices for your market over time to make sure you're right in the sweet spot for profitability and staying competitive. That's for sale on the website, and you can go check that out. It's a one-time expense if you want to use those spreadsheets we put together. The third option that you have is there's a couple different companies out there. Estimate Rocket is one, Paint Scout is another. Those are probably the two predominant companies in the painting space that have estimating software that you can use. So you've got to sign up with those companies. It's a subscription. They'll help you make your proposal templates and things like that too, in addition to estimating. And it's a monthly fee, and they've got different packages and stuff that you can check out there. We've got a lot of members at Painting Business Pro who use both of those, a lot of members who use the spreadsheets that we provide. The point is there's a lot of different ways that you can get your estimating dialed in. So I hope this video is helpful to you for at least getting a good foundation or a simple foundation for estimating jobs so that you've got some confidence, because I know how tough it can be when you're first starting out, or if you're just, even if you're just confused with interior estimating like I was, hopefully this simple process will help you do it. We'll also leave links to all the resources I just mentioned in the description of the video so you can check those out. If you have any questions about this video, just drop a comment or send us a message. We respond to everything. So yeah, I hope you found the video helpful, and just reach out to us if you have any questions at all.